Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Ella Aquarela. Today I want to show you the tiniest itsy bitsy itty bitty art supplies that I own. I'm getting ready to make a video of making tiny little works of art, and I was kind of looking through my stash and looking for the smallest art supplies that I own, and I decided to show them to you before I actually make those videos so you can see what I'm using to make them. Before we continue, if you like the content of this video, please consider giving this a thumbs up and subscribing so you can see more and you can see how those tiny little works of art come out. All right, so the way I'm gonna do this is I'm gonna go by category. And I put the ruler of my mat here so you can get a sense of how big these are. This is in inches. I live in America and everything's in inches. I do have a ruler with centimeters too, in case you want to see how big they are in centimeters. And I'm going to also compare these to the sizes of other regular art supplies so that you can get a sense of how tiny they actually are. So the first category is going to be writing instruments. So I have some pens and pencils here. I have 2 pens and 2 pencils. These are 2 mechanical pencils. This is the cheapest, probably the cheapest, tiniest art supply that I own. It is a basic Claris Mini mechanical pencil. It is really tiny. So compared to a regular mechanical pencil, it is like maybe 3/4 of the size. So very tiny. Maybe I'll put them here so you can see it in inches. There you go. That's maybe 4 inches, and a regular one is closer to 6 inches. So very small. It is the same, the width of the barrel is the same as a regular pencil, so it's really easy to hold and pretty practical. They come in packs of maybe 4, and I got it at Dollar Tree. It's a dollar store here in the US. I'm sure they sell them in different dollar stores in different parts of the world. But I mean, these are super practical. I take them with me in my to-go sketching kits. They fit very well and they're super cheap, so if you lose them, no big deal. This one is a much nicer, luxurious one. It's very thin, very tiny, very nice design. This is a Pilot mechanical pencil. I bought this on my trip to Japan a few years ago. It's a 0.5 lead. I forgot to mention this is a 0.7 lead, so it's a little thicker. And it even has a tiny eraser at the end. It is the cutest thing. It feels really very nicely made. It's like stainless steel. So it's like a really nice like pencil art supply. It was kind of expensive. It was, I think, around $10 US. And it's a little bit, it's about the same size, maybe a little bit taller than the other one, but very thin. You can put it anywhere in a pocket in your purse. Doesn't take up any space or weigh a lot. Now for the pens, I have this Fabriano tiny little pen. It's a ballpoint pen. So it's just like a regular ballpoint pen. I bought this in Venice at the Fabriano store and I just fell in love with it. I love the color, this mustard color. So I'm just gonna write here so you can see it's black ink. I thought it would be great for quick sketching or just writing notes on the go, putting it in my purse. I can't remember how much it cost. I might look it up online and link it below. I'm gonna link all the supplies that I can find online. I'll add links below in the description. So look for those if you're interested in just finding more about these supplies or buying them. I might not find links for all of them because some of these I bought at small mom and pop art supply stores in different parts of the world. This one, for example, I bought it in Germany. It's actually, I think, included in one of my previous videos. It's a German art supply haul, and they might not sell it online, but I will include all the links that I can find. This is actually a dip pen, so if you can see that. It is a very tiny dip pen. I thought it was the cutest thing ever. Just to give you a sense of a regular dip pen, this is what a regular dip pen is. This is how big it is. And this is this tiny little dip pen. It is the cutest thing. It's a little bit over maybe 5.5 inches really thin compared to this huge dip pen. Very great to travel. I just put it in my pencil case and it fits perfectly. Like this would not fit in my pencil case. And it also would dent the tip. So sometimes I put a protective sleeve here, like a straw or something to protect it, and I take it with me, and it actually works pretty well. I might try to use this in one of my tiny masterpieces, my tiny paintings or tiny sketches videos in the future, so you might see this. So another writing instruments that I have is these color pencils that were given to me as a gift from my cousin who came to visit me to New York. I bought them at the Met, at the gift store at the Met. Actually, I've seen these sold in other places, not entirely at museums. I'm gonna try to see if I can find them online. This set is the cutest thing you've ever seen. I'm actually missing a pencil, but it has a full range of colors. It has a tiny, tiny little eraser, which is the cutest thing ever. Like, OMG, look at that. How cute is that? And it has a little hole so you can pop it out. And it has the tiniest pencil sharpener that I've ever seen. It is super tiny. So I'm definitely going to be using this for my tiny works of art. And it is just freaking adorable. In terms of size, yeah, it's about 1, 2, 3, 4 inches. So it's not, it's really small. Just in comparison, this is, how many does this have? 3, 9, 12. It has 12 colors. And this is a 12 color set of Crayola. So look at the difference in size. I mean, outrageous. And you know what? Let's compare a pencil to a pencil. This is a Crayola, regular color pencil. Let's see how I can get this out of here. And this is a tiny little, oh my God, like, that's ridiculous. It is so small. So freaking small. I don't even know how I'm gonna draw with this. I'm gonna have to do some practice beforehand. Kind of get my hands, stretch my hands because they're gonna cramp probably. So that's the colored pencils. Next category, it's gonna be paintbrushes. And I just have 2 for this. I have 2 tiny little paintbrushes here. One of them is a water brush and one of them is a regular synthetic brush. The water brush, this is a koi water brush. I love these, they're so great. They come sometimes inside the koi watercolor sets. This is one that's assembled. I'm gonna disassemble it so you can see it's the same size as the one inside the pack. So when you disassemble it and you take it with you like this, it's really compact and super small. So you can get a sense, this is a regular water brush, a Pentel water brush, and it's much bigger. If you disassemble it, it takes up a lot more space. So also holds more water, of course. So if you're gonna make tiny paintings or just like you have a small sketchbook, this is super, super practical. I really like it. This is this large brush size. I actually bought this one because this one is already pretty well used and it lost its point. But this is great. It also has a cap. It includes a cap so you can have water in there and it won't spill. So that's that for this brush. Then there's this tiny little, I just love this brush. It's so cute. It's a synthetic brush. It is so small. It's like 3 inches. This is a quarter. A quarter is about an inch. So that's how small it is. It is really, really tiny. It actually came with this set, this Aqua mini Sennelier set that I bought. So it came inside the set. And I haven't really used it much for outdoor sketching because it is way too small for any practical purposes. That being said, it has a great point. It holds a great point. So it's great for details. And I think this is the brush I'm gonna use when I make my tiny little works of art, because it is really, really good brush. The next category is paint palettes. So I actually had shown this palette in a previous video about 2 years ago, actually, that how I explained how I made it a bit. I have a kind of a tiny watercolor palette video, and I will link that at the end of this video if you are interested in seeing my other small watercolor palettes. These are the tiniest ones that I own though. This is the smallest one in terms of like overall dimensions, I would think, but it's a little thicker. This is the thinnest one that I own. This is a credit card holder that I bought at Daiso, which is a Japanese dollar store. It costs $2, and I put some Yupa paper on this side to make it a mixing area, and then I put a blister pack of gum. You know, when you buy gum in blister packs, I took out the foil and I put the little blister pack on this side, and I put paint on it, and I put a little sponge, and I take this with me with a water brush and a tiny like notebook, which I'll show you the notebooks in the next section, and I'm ready to sketch on the go. This is really great. I really love it. The tiniest one though, I would say, is this one, which I already showed in another video. It has Turner watercolors in here. Again, has a sponge. I have this tiny little pencil, which is actually a regular pencil that I just sharpened until it became small enough to fit into this. And I might use this for my tiny watercolor paintings. And this one, you're probably wondering what this is. It's actually my tiniest mixing palette, watercolor mixing palette. And it's actually a soy sauce container. So I went to, I think this is from Daiso too, from the Japanese dollar store. They have a section of like bowls and sushi type of like plates and things. And this is a soy sauce like condiment cup basically. And it's porcelain. It's great. I love porcelain palettes. And when I travel, I don't want to take them with me, right? Because they're heavy, they can break. And this is a porcelain palette that I actually take with me on the go because it is so small and it won't break. I just wrap it on some paper towels so it doesn't break, and I put it in my bag. So perfect size for a tiny little water brush, or watercolor brush I should say, to mix colors right here. So there's an idea for you for a tiny little porcelain watercolor palette. Now the next section will be paper and notebooks. So I've actually gathered quite a bit of tiny little notebooks and paper pads that I didn't even know I had these many until I started looking at my stash. Legion, which is a great brand of paper. They make all kinds of paper, watercolor paper and sketching paper. They make these tiny little sample size pads of their different types of paper. I bought this at Blick Art Supplies here in the United States. I have one that's for, I think this is for colored pencils. It's pretty thick though. This is just a regular sketching paper. This is watercolor paper, but it's black watercolor paper. I actually haven't tried it or used it. I'm excited to try this with maybe some metallic paints. And then just regular watercolor paper. This is cold press. So these I think are about $1 each, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, I could be wrong. I'll look it up online and link it below. I think these are great for trying them out and just figuring out what paper you like. And actually, forgot to mention this one. Even if it's this tiny, it actually has 3 different colors of paper. I don't know if you can see that. It has like a gray, a cream, and a beige or a tan color. So you get 3 different paper colors that you can try. That's pretty cool. Then I have these 2 little moleskin, sorry, I couldn't find the name, moleskin notebooks that I think I bought an iPhone case, a moleskin iPhone case. And the iPhone case came with tiny little sketchbooks that are amazing. They're moleskin paper. They are pretty thin, so they don't hold water very well, but they're good for pencil sketching and maybe ink. I have some pretty terrible sketches here, and I even used it for pastels. So not bad if you're traveling and you want to kill time to sketch. Those like a super light. This one I bought in Germany. I think I also showed it in my German art supply haul. It had a bit of an accident when I took it traveling. It got wet and it broke off. But it is a 200-gram watercolor paper, 95 pounds. And it's cold press. It's Hahnemühle. This is really great paper. And they also sell it in these tiny little pads. And then my favorite, cutest little notebook that I've ever seen in my life. It is this Hahnemühle 6-sag book. It is so tiny. It's like 2 inches and a little bit more in centimeters. It's 5.5 centimeters maybe. And it's square. And it's an accordion book, which is nuts because it's so tiny, but it's an accordion book. Isn't that cool? That is so freaking cool. I'm like excited to try this one. Super excited. I haven't used it yet. I actually bought it online at the Spanish art supply store called Arte Miranda, and I thought it was bigger. So when I saw the 5.5 centimeter description, for some reason I was thinking inches, and I thought this was going to be 5.5 inches, which is like this big. And I thought it was going to be a square 5.5 inch accordion book. And I bought it thinking, oh, how cheap is that for 5.5 inches? And it turned out to be 5.5 centimeters. It's so tiny, but I'm still so glad I got it. It's super cute. So that is all my tiny little art supplies. Basically, you can take these on the go with you without weighing you down. I really enjoy them. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making maybe a video or two around painting really tiny. I'm trying to see how I can paint so small. I started practicing tiny little paintings that are, I mean, these are like maybe 2 inches by like 1.5, super tiny. Here's a quarter to compare. And I'm going to try to go even smaller than this. And I'm going to try to use these art supplies to do that. So if you want to see that, subscribe so you get notified when I post those videos. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.